With me, I have Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, as well as Jide Ologun, a legal practitioner and national development advocate. Now, very quickly, we'll go to our third guest, Aaron Akerejola, who is there in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Well, Aaron, are you with us? Okay, I understand we don't have Aaron yet, but very quickly, Professor Aworawo. We've been discussing a number of topics, Ondo election specifically, and also the ruling of the Supreme Court on the constitutionality or otherwise of the EFCC, NFIU, ICPC, and other anti-corruption agencies. Let me start with you.
Well, I will begin with the Ondo election. 4 things I would want to comment on about the election. The first is to congratulate Aiyedatiwa for his victory. The gap between him and the rest is so wide that it is clear that the people of Ondo State want him to be their governor, majority of the people of Ondo State. So you congratulate him. And then that brings me to the second issue mentioned by Barrister Ogunye, that he has 2 paths to follow, 2 options, 2 clear options. The others were 2 clear options. One is for him to want to work for the people, work for a good name, bring policies, pursue the policies positively, and improve the quality of life of the people of Ondo State, expand development, and then, of course, he will be remembered for good if he goes that direction, because he only has one term. Then he has a second option, the disastrous option, where he will become reckless. He says, oh, I only have 1 term. I'm not accountable to anybody. And then he decides to go on the looting spree and don't bother about the welfare of the people and development of those. That's the other direction. I would advise him to follow the first. Most people who hold offices like this, they already have enough money to take them for the rest of their lives, legitimately. So he should work for a good name, and he should work to uplift the quality of life of the people of Ondo State, for which will be remembered in a long, long time. That is a path I want him to follow, and not the disastrous path of wanting to just live for himself and those around him. Follow the path of prebendalism and neo-patrimonialism, as some scholars have described African politics and governance. That's the second. Then the third, there were the usual problems with the election. Transmission of results not being smooth, even accreditation not also smooth, with problems, vote buying, and the rest of them. Which raises the question, where will Nigeria get it right in this election issue? When the election in Ekiti held, and we had vote buying and the rest of them, INEC rose to the occasion. The 2 elections after that, including Anambra, they tried to, respond to it, and we thought that we're making progress. But now we seem to have, gone back, so that INEC will need to, seek ways to continue to improve, because if the gaps were close with the vote buying and the malpractices, we probably not know who the majority of Ondo people want. But we're able to congratulate Aiyedatiwa, just on the go, is that Aiyedatiwa, the gap between him and the rest, so wide, so obviously he has won the election. But there are times that the gap is not so wide. And when there are malpractices, you then don't know who really won the election. So INEC must continue to improve along that line. That's the third. And
INEC must continue to improve. I like that statement. But I understand we now have Aaron Akerejola with us now. He's out there in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, preparing for Nigeria's match tomorrow. Aaron Akerejola, thank you very much for joining us. Aaron?
A pleasure to be here today, Doctor.
Well, Aaron, we know that this match between the Super Eagles and the Rwanda national team tomorrow is just a question of formality. We've already qualified for AFCON 2025, and some poetic justice that Libya dropped out. But for tomorrow, do you think the match is still very important when we're already leading the group with 11 points and we already have the qualification in the bag? What's your take?
All right, the Amavubis will be hoping that they can get something out of this particular one because, like you said, how we put it in football is simple. This is a dead rubber game. We're just going to run through the races, run through the paces. This is an opportunity for the coach, the gaffer himself, Augustus Cerezo-Iguavon, to go through and utilize some players, probably try out new tactics, because as it stands, this is the final window of the international break. The next time the Super Eagles will be converging will be down in March, and that particular point, there will be pressure on the Super Eagles, knowing that the World Cup qualifier that has gone off track they will get the opportunity to get it back on track. So the coach will need to settle himself on what he wants to do, how he wants to approach that particular game. For tomorrow, they've done the hard job already, qualifying with a game to spare. Kudos to them. But it was expected. It's just that the Super Eagles have been inconsistent over the years. Lest qualifying from both the World Cup group and this particular Group A in the AFCON qualifiers should be easy breezy. And this is where the NFF needs to do a lot of introspection. At the moment, we're not even sure of what is going on in terms of who will be the next coach. Are they going for another man by this time? By March, are they going to have another coach take over the reins of the Super Eagles, or will it still be Cerezo-Iguavon in an interim capacity? A lot still needs to be done. But for tomorrow, we're all relaxed, and we're just hoping that we'll just run through the races, win easily, or probably draw the game, and it wouldn't matter anyway, because some of the players have even left. Some key players have been excused because
I was going to ask you about that. The key players that have left. Olaino left. Ademola Lookman also left. Stanley Nwabali, our condolences to him and his family, by the way. He is bereaved. That's understandable. But what is the mood, the attitude? Because you know the way Nigerians behave. We say, well, this is, what did you call it? Dead rubber game. And that it doesn't quite matter. So, are they also lackadaisical about it? That it's just routine match?
Now, Doctor, I must say this here, that the players that will go out, even though it's a dead rubber game, the jury is still out on some of these players, the coach, and the general performance of the Super Eagles. They were poor. And I must say this, they were very, very mediocre in their last outing. We shouldn't have labored to get a draw in that last game. And it's unfortunate that the Super Eagles are not living up to the high billing. When you look at the roster, when you look at the pedigree of players within the ranks of the Super Eagles, this Super Eagles team should be rushing and probably breezing past teams, or probably cutting through teams like hot knife through butter. But that has not been the case. Cerezo-Iguavon, when he faces an ultra-defensive team, he becomes bereft of ideas. And I question this because this is not the first time. We were in Cameroon at the AFCON where he didn't know what to do against Tunisia. Same thing against Ghana. It cost us the opportunity to play at the 2022 World Cup. He needs to know how to utilize these boys that know where the back of the net is to get results. He's not been able to do that.
Aaron, I get you. Every Nigerian commentator is a coach. It's a closer coach. We all know what positions, what combination. If you ask me, I will give you my own professional ideas. You will think I'm a football coach. In any case, let me ask you, what's your prediction for tomorrow? A draw, a win? Or
I think I'll not keep my hopes up. I think a draw will suffice. I'll not keep my hopes up. This team have not impressed me one bit. I'll not keep my hopes up. A draw. And the fact that there's nothing to play for, I think a draw is the the likely outcome.
Okay, before I let you go, I just want your reactions to the Paul Jakes, Mike Tyson boxing bout. Looks like it was just more about the money rather than for real action. Tyson is going to go home with how much now?
Doctor?
$20 million. Paul Jakes is pocketing $40 million.
Yeah, $20 million.
Yes, not to talk of all the endorsements, all the other things that will come from, the media, retailers of the fight. But what do you think? You think we were taken for a ride?
And now, Doctor, the truth is this. I'll say that. Doctor, let me say this here. It's unfortunate and it is sad that that bout even held in the first place. It's a testament to those out there probably watching that if you decide to live on the fast lane and you go on a spending spree, because when you put into context, what is $20 million? Mike Tyson made over $400 million in his heydays or in his entire career. If you add inflation to it, currently that is about $700 million. Buying fast cars, buying a bathtub worth $2 million, buying a tiger, having homes, living recklessly, ensuring that his shirt matches the color of his car. Doctor, that is why Mike Tyson is where he is at 58. He came in like a house on fire in the first round, but he was gassed just shortly after he came into the first round. And he just went through the paces. Kudos to him that he was able to stay on his feet. But some would say that Jake Paul was the merciful one that did not want to finish Mike Tyson and he did not want to tarnish his legacy. Mike Tyson should not be fighting in that kind of bout. But it's the harsh reality of life that when you do not take care of yourself, when you do not utilize your opportunity, that in your heydays when you should be resting, you are still slaving away. Because trust me, when you actually open a camp for a boxer, it is no tea party. You would have to slave away to be able to withstand the barrage of punches that you will receive. You will receive maybe 20, 30, 40 times what you will receive in the ring. But a man who decided not to do this because he's actually worth $20 million. And if you'd ask me, a 58-year-old man that is probably still gets pocket money here and there should not even be going into this. But a man that has lived up there, maybe he's still hoping that he can capture the thunder. Well, Doctor, I must say, it's unfortunate. Purists in boxing are very disappointed. But the fans wanted a show. Did they get a show? The answer is no.
Well, I thought the excitement, the enthusiasm, the entertainment itself was probably something to talk about. But thank you very much, Aaron Akurijola, reporting live from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. We'll come back now to the studio. Well, Prof, you had commented on Ondo State.
Yes.
Let me hear.
I had not finished.
You had not finished?
I had not even, yes. I said
okay.
4 things. I had stated 3. Let me state the 4th. It's important.
Okay.
And is in response to what Barrister Jide Ogunye said, that in 1999 hopes were high regarding Nigeria's transformation after the long 15 years of military authoritarianism in the country. And that, see where we are now, that the consensus is that the expectations of Nigerians have not been met. There is a scholar by the name Kalmea. He has a book.
This house has fallen.
Yes, the house has not fallen, but he said the house has fallen. Nigerian crisis. Now, at the beginning of the book, he made comments about 1999. He said 29th May 1999 was the second most important date in Africa's recent history, second only to the date of Mandela's inauguration on the 10th of May, 1994. So there was this high expectation, and it was understandable that there was this high expectation. But see where we are. That's why my advice to Ayedatiwa and others, work for name, uplift your people, do well. Forget about primitive accumulation. You know, those who follow that path, they are easily forgotten. Why are we still talking about G.F. Kennedy? Why are we still talking about Abraham Lincoln? Why is he, so all those names, people who focused on human development, those are the people that will be remembered. That's the point I want to make. That the hopes, expectations post-1999 were high. They have not been met. Moving forward, leaders should focus on meeting those expectations.
Mr. Ologun, you are from Ondo State, by the way. So you are a major stakeholder, like G.T. Ogunye, like Yemi Adamolekun.
Like Professor
Akinterewa, Professor Akinterewa too, yes.
So, firstly, let me congratulate His Excellency Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa on that victory. And like Prof said, the margin was quite clear. And let's also appreciate that INEC has been putting in their best. And when Adamolekun was commenting, she made reference to the fact that the opposition velocity was very low, and I must also underscore that. And let me also appreciate Lucky that from the time he was sworn into coming as governor after the master, Akeredolu, passed on, he's been able to put the party together and engage the mechanism of governance in the state. So we just expect that here we go back to Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that has stipulated the primary purpose of government, which is the security and the welfare of the citizens. And I don't want to begin to talk about the other side of whether he has just one term left. You know, someone said that people don't really care how much you know, but they want to know how much you care. And if he has any ambition in the political environment, it's an opportunity for him to prepare for a brighter future and to engage the resources. And I'm quite familiar with his pedigree. He's someone who is well-trained in business and has international, profile in managing resources. And with a team of commissioners and the backing of the House of Assembly, you should please realize he's the #1 citizen in Ondo State, the Sunshine State. And I hope also he will lobby the legislators in the National Assembly from Ondo State to liaise with their colleagues and see how we can pay attention to probably migrating the resources of this nation from the exclusive legislatively so that states can begin to develop. So once again, I say congratulations. And again, by extension, you can see the peaceful approach that elections are taking in Ondo State now compared to the Second Republic in the days of Ajashi and Omoboriwo and all that. So we expect governance. And that now takes us to the state that went to the Supreme Court on the issue of EFCC and then NFIU, talking about 19 states, about 6 of them backed out. And the Supreme Court has pronounced that the EFCC has the prerogative and the mandate to check out for financial offenses in the states. And let me lay a foundation for this discussion. In 1989, this Financial Action Task Force came up by the G7 trying to fight money laundering across the world. And Nigeria was one of the 34 countries labeled as not cooperating with that movement. And in year 2002, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo came up with the EFCC Act, and it was reviewed in 2004 to set up EFCC to begin to engage financial crimes in the nation. And that was the heydays of Nuhu Ribadu. And casting your minds back, the likes of Adebendel, Ajudua, and some of the guys in town then were picked up by the long arms of the law. So EFCC had been effective, but down the line, I don't know what has happened, that there has been a lot of steams coming down in that sector. And the states now will come to rest, realizing EFCC has the power to question what is going on at the state level, particularly when you have a provision in Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended that says clearly that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. And of course, many will ask, but the governors have immunity. Yes, if you look at Section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, but that immunity does not foreclose the power of EFCC to investigate. And we have the classical case of Ekiti State. When Ayodele Fayose was in office, the EFCC went in there, did their investigation, warehoused their findings, and it was even Fayose himself that drove to EFCC office when he left office and dropped the immunity gown. And the matter is still in court today. And if we know the impact of corruption on the nation, then you should be concerned that some governors are even making the attempt to prevent the prevention, because the mandate of EFCC is the prevention, investigation, and prosecution of corrupt practices and financial offenses. So, good one there from the Supreme Court. And since 1963, when we became a republic, the Supreme Court has become the final court in the land. So if you are not satisfied with the decision of the Supreme Court, then you go to God. So that is another decision now, like the one giving autonomy to the local government. It's now for us to look at EFCC with this additional enablement and see whether they will be effective or be chasing those who should be dealt with the long arms of the law, like Tom and Jerry.
Okay, Mr. Ologun, I still intend to smuggle in one more topic today, but I wanted you to comment on Tyson or Jake. And,
matching Paul of about 27 years old with a 50-year-old man. I think it's just for the money. You know, Tyson has gotten the money, and Paul has his career to pursue. So, did Tyson get the show? The answer is no. But did he get the money? He got the money. So, and for the football, it's the same Libya that we had issues with that has bailed us out, and it's the same Uyo where Libya came and also alleged that they were not well treated by Nigeria, that the match is taking place tomorrow. And my advice is that in life, you put your best foot forward. So whether we have qualified or not, I expect that Super Eagles will go out there and represent us and make us proud. So I expect a win, not even a draw.
Prof?
Well, for Tyson, of course, it's clear. It's even surprising that, anyway, Tyson still has charisma. People still like him. So I'm sure those who put the show together knew that it would generate excitement. And, of course, some money will come in. Otherwise, for the action itself, you know, the ring, I'm not sure they expected, you know, better than the performance of Tyson. For Super Eagles, yes, the Super Eagles has not been living up to, you know, expectation lately. For the Nations Cup, it's good. For the World Cup, it's more tricky. Super Eagles could win all the rest of their matches and still not qualify from the way things are sketched out. And there are teams, there are, you know, countries that are in the Nations Cup that are also in, you know, the World Cup, like Rwanda, for instance. That's why they need to beat Rwanda to have that psychological this thing to be able to move on when the World Cup qualifiers, you know, commence in March 2025.
Okay, before we go, let's just take one more topic, political, by the way. Monday Okpewolo and Dennis Idahosa have been sworn in as governor and deputy governor of Edo State, respectively. Both men pledged to embark on reforms that will provide good governance for the people of Edo State. President Tinubu was represented at the event by Vice President Kashim Shettima, and Arise News was on the ground. But very quickly.
Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Daniel Okungwa, administering the oath of office on Monday Okpewolo and his deputy, Dennis Idahosa, to usher in the new administration. Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, venue of the ceremony, was filled to capacity with dignitaries from all walks of life. APC governors came in their numbers, while some members of the Federal Executive Council, that of the National Assembly, and the Edo State House of Assembly members, led by their Speaker Blessing Agbebaku, were in attendance.
Well, APC governor there in Edo State, we're also going to have an APC governor also in Ondo State, where I read a story. President Obasanjo talking about state capture. And you said one of the factors in Ondo State would seem to be the fact that the APC just wants to remain in charge in as many states as possible, if possible, across the entire country. Yes, Professor Aworawo.
Yeah, APC in Ondo, APC in Edo. I began my comments about Aiyedatiwa by congratulating him. But I'm not sure I'm able to congratulate Okpebholo because I'm not sure he won the election. There are two governors, two APC, but independent analysts like us must speak truth. What we saw in Edo, one is not sure who won that election, but it's there now. So let me advise that just as he has said in his address, when he was sworn in, he should focus on that. Transformative governance, governance that will touch on the lives of the people positively, that should be his focus. The other distraction of, my first job is to probe my predecessor as it was before, forget about that. In the process of your governance, if you have found that your predecessor has done anything wrong, the law will take its course. Leaders who make probing their predecessors their main focus don't do well. When Adama Barrow took over in Gambia, I said he would not likely do well because he was focusing on Yaya Jammeh and not the welfare of the people. That's my advice to Okpebholo. He should focus on governance, focus on the welfare of the people of Edo State. If anything comes and the other man has done anything wrong, the law will take its course. But that should not be his primary focus. Those are my comments.
Mr. Ologun.
Yeah, I pick it from there, and he should realize his tenure is time-bound, and time has started counting. And a difficult thing in this part of the world is to walk your talk, like we say in public relations. So you've made promises, and go out there and transform the lives and the fortunes of Edo State. And again, like Prof mentioned, even towards Ondo State election, people were saying that INEC should not repeat the mistake in Edo State. So if there were mistakes widely acknowledged concerning Edo State, but then the winner emerged. It's one of those things. But please, the governor, while being sworn into office, should realize that Oshomole was there, and Obaseki was there. Lucky Igbinedion had been there before. So it's your tenure now. What will you be remembered for when you leave office? And I am very close to Edo State. I schooled in Uniben, and we have in-laws in Benin. So I want to see the environment transformed by this opportunity that he has as we progress from mere democracy to developmental governance in the country. So congratulations to Okpebholo and his team, and congratulations again to the governor-elect or re-elect of Ondo State, Lucky Orimisan Aiyedatiwa.
You are from Ondo State.
No, the capital of the world.
You have in-laws from Edo State.
Doctor,
whichever way the thing goes.
You know the Moedes.
Okay.
You know the Moedes?
Yes.
Deola Moede.
Yes.
She's my
That's
senior
your
brother's wife.
Oh, okay.
You can see now. So I'm a real Nigerian.
Oh, true.
Connected to all nooks and crannies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ologun. Despite the hitches that we had today, and thank you, Professor Aworawo. You know it doesn't happen every week, but we're still working on it. We'll get there. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati. From our entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.